Why do you think Arsenal pulled out of this deal?
Oh, Arsenal, this Arsenal thing. Oh my God, Terry, man. Like, it's just the rant that I went on with Arsenal on the channel that you clipped up and you put on the Football Terrace clips. I wish I could just replay this back now. Honestly, I could just replay it back. Arsenal are just so unserious currently. They're just so unserious. Arsenal fans, I love you guys. I have no problem with you guys. I wanted you guys to win the league this season. I am not anti-Arsenal. I'm pro-Arsenal. But why are Arsenal such a joke football club? I don't get it. Edu is now away making barbecues in the only 2 months in the year where they need him. He's away from doing his actual job. You look at this Caicedo situation. Arsenal pulled out of it because of 100 million. Arsenal needs ceiling raisers. Arsenal would have been better off signing Caicedo and Rice and nobody else than whatever the hell they're planning to do right now. Even if Caicedo cost 100 million, right? Let's say Caicedo was 100, Rice was 100. Had they signed Caicedo and Rice for 200 million and done nothing else the rest of the summer, they're better off than whatever they're trying to do right now. Because Caicedo and Rice, with Odegaard ahead of them, with the front three that you had developing, getting better, with Trossard coming off the bench, even keeping Nketiah, who could easily give you in all comps maybe 10 goals, 12 goals, like, you would have been in a much better position. And with all due respect to Arsenal, like, it's just the lack of seriousness. That's just something that I spoke on this show. On this very show, I spoke on Arsenal's lack of seriousness. And I said, guys, Arsenal need to be aggressive. Arsenal needs ceiling raisers. I know the Arsenal prototype, you don't like bidding wars. You don't like to get into bidding wars and start putting 2 million, 5 million more, 10 million, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, look, Declan Rice had a Conference League final. Fair enough. I accept that. That's a valid argument. I'm not expecting Declan Rice to announce a move before he plays a European final. I understand that. With Brighton, if you're Arsenal Football Club, Brighton's season's been over like a month now. Brighton are a willing selling club. Roberto De Zerbi himself came out and said, I expect us to not be with McAllister or Caicedo. Liverpool done its part. We got McAllister. Done. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though some people say he has a release clause. No problem. I accept that. That's a valid argument. But you're telling me a club like Arsenal Football Club, had they called Caicedo on Brighton a day after the season ended, they could have pulled that transfer off. They could have been the front runners. They could have been the guys who have done the most groundwork. And now I'm looking at Arsenal, and suddenly you wake up yesterday, you're scrolling through Twitter, and it's like Man City are interested in Declan Rice, and suddenly you're like Havertz, Arsenal interest, and you're just sat there like, do these guys realize what's at stake here? Like, do they understand that we've just finished second in the English Premier League whilst challenging? We're going to get Champions League football next season and try to challenge/win it again. And this is the crap we're going with? And I'm seeing Arsenal fans just inhaling copium in massive levels, trying to convince themselves that Havertz is a good signing. Havertz ain't no good signing. Havertz is a crap signing. Even if it's for depth. 60 million, 50 million, 40 million for Havertz is too much because he can't play on the wing. He can't play in midfield. And if he's just backup to Odegaard, then he's just not good enough backup to Odegaard because Odegaard is unbelievably clear in that 10 position. And if you play Havertz and Jesus as strikers, you're going to wait 500 years before you score a goal because both of them can't score a goal to save their life. So Arsenal Football Club have a lack of seriousness. Arsenal Football Club need to be a lot more serious, a lot more aggressive. I expect Arsenal to have aggression. I expect Arsenal that as soon as this transfer window opens, I'm seeing first club to sign a player, Arsenal. I still remember, I'm not going to use my club like, keep using them as a positive example, but Arsenal should use us as an example because we have American owners too, and we came close and we got better and blah, blah, blah. That year where we lost the Champions League final, next day we signed Fabinho. We didn't forget all this. Wait 1 week, wait 2 weeks. No. Next day, we woke up the next day. Fabinho was wearing a Liverpool shirt, like here, and then like a month later, we had Alisson and we had Keita and we had blah blah blah. I understand it's just the start of the summer transfer window, but as Arsenal fans, even you should be expecting more of your football club, and you should be expecting your football club to be a lot more aggressive because this lack of aggression is worrying. And the people that you're looking at, Havertz. And I swear I saw today, who's that guy? Lavia. I'm like, are you guys serious?
But Lavia is really good.
He is, but not for what Arsenal are trying to achieve.
Why though? Why? Why is Lavia not good?
Arsenal now need to prove that this is not a Leicester season. Simple as. Arsenal need to go do it again next season. Does Lavia make them title challengers again? No.
Why
Does
not?
Lavia elevate them
Yeah,
to be Champions League winners? No.
but why not though? Why can't he?
Because he's too young. He's too inexperienced. I don't think Lavia would have been perfect to sign last summer, Terry, when they're in the Europa League.
Isn't it about what you're adding him to? So you've got Declan Rice coming in, who is experienced.
Yes.
24, captain, England, been finals for England, won a European Cup.
Yes.
You've got Partey in him with experience, Jorginho at the club that's experienced. You add Lavia to that mix, that's your 4, plus Odegaard ahead of them. That's a lot of experience. You can afford to add a young player into that mix because Caicedo
Jorginho reportedly leaving to Lazio, I swear.
You sorry?
Jorginho's leaving to Lazio, I swear, right?
I haven't personally read that myself. What I'd say about Arsenal is this: I understand not getting Rice. We'll get onto Rice soon, but people criticize the signing of Odegaard. They said the signing of Ben White was ridiculous. The signing of who's Gabriel, the overhyping of William Saliba. The signing of Jesus was attacked as being stupid and pointless. Why do you want a City reject in Zinchenko? And they went on to not only make it into the top 4, but they put on a title challenge. I do you not think maybe, and look, I'm going to get cooked for this because, Terry's backing Arsenal. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Do we not think we're overreacting again and over-indexing how we feel about Arsenal as a way to put them down? Because they're very close, and we'll get onto Rice a bit later in the show to landing one of the best midfielders in the world in Declan Rice.
I agree, that's good.
I understand that Kai Havertz not really being that liked, but you do know City are looking at Kai Havertz as an option as well for backup.
City looking at Kai Havertz the same way they were looking at Maguire, the same way they were looking at Fred.
But they were looking at those players.
But not like that. They weren't willing to go above and beyond.
I understand that, but I sort of feel like in the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, Arsenal have bought really well. Not every player has worked because not every manager has players that don't work for them. Even the great Pep, who's now being lauded as the best ever, which is fair. He's had many signings at all these clubs that haven't worked, but his signings a lot of them have worked out so far, especially in the last 3 windows. So why this, in your view, why the skepticism of what Arsenal are doing from your perspective?
I'll tell you why the skepticism. I said from the beginning, before any of this even came up, I said Arsenal Football Club needs ceiling raisers. They need their Alisson and Van Dijk window now. It's as simple as that. They just cannot afford all this young, inexperienced youth crap. I'm gonna be so honest with you. And they can't afford any of these players who are simply not good enough at other clubs. Like Odegaard still played for Real Madrid, still played for Sociedad, still played for, decorated clubs, was there, had showed signs at least. And fair enough, Odegaard became the player he is at Arsenal. I accept that. But you look at Havertz, just from a football perspective, he doesn't fit on the wing. He doesn't start for Arsenal Football Club, neither ahead of Odegaard nor ahead of Jesus, because Jesus is the better player, so is Odegaard. So you're essentially going to pay 50 million for a quote-unquote depth option to play either the 10 or the 9. So does that elevate you above and beyond? No, it doesn't. Declan Rice, unbelievable signing. I like that. I think Declan Rice is a signing that elevates them, and he's unbelievably better than the players they have. Now, the rest of the players they're linked with, Lavia isn't really someone that's going to take Arsenal to a Premier League title. You look at the other guys they're linked with, and it's the same thing. It's kind of just like, okay, players. It's basically players for teams in projects. Lavia, for example, I think is great for Chelsea. I think Lavia is great for Spurs. You could even argue great for Liverpool currently, given our state, because it's not, I don't think what Liverpool are doing are a rebuild, you already know, but I think we're doing a midfield rebuild, not the whole team, just the midfield we're rebuilding. So for me, like, okay, fair enough, I'd understand that. But you look at Arsenal currently, playing essentially serious football from August until April minimum, with Champions League football coming. They need people who are going to take them to the next level. I think Arsenal Football Club start the summer transfer window. They sign Caicedo, they sign Rice, they need no one else. Had they signed just Caicedo and Rice, it takes them above and beyond.
I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. What I wanted to respond to you with, though, when it comes to what you said there about they're Alisson and Van Dijk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put this out there. When you signed Alisson and Van Dijk, it was especially Van Dijk, it was universally laughed at by football fans. It wasn't looked at as, wow, look who they've just bought. The Van Dijk especially, I remember seeing comments like 75 million for the Dutch Chris Smalling.
Chris Smalling, yep.
So I remember seeing these comments, and I'm just going to say this. When it comes to Arsenal, after the season they had this last year, I'm just not going to be so quick to go, that's crap, that's rubbish. I look at Lavia. Look, Lavia's 19 years of age, played 30, 40 games in his career. Caicedo's only played like 50, 60 more games. Like there isn't
Caicedo's played at the World Cup too. Like that's extra experience.
He has, right? So he's got that little bit of extra experience. But I do think signing young players can help take you to another level, especially if you're not going to be the main centre back.
Not in the Champions League or against City.
I understand that. I understand it, but at the same time, you've got to look at it this way. And I will defend Arsenal here, but I use this as logic. It's logic as opposed to defending Arsenal. What if Caicedo just doesn't want to join Arsenal? That's not their fault, is it?
That's not their fault. But then don't go and get Lavia.
Yeah, but okay, so who else do you go for then? So if you say today,
a world-class midfielder, Barella, perfect example.
But getting Barella out of Italy is very hard.
Okay, Tchouaméni. You call Real Madrid, you're like
Real Madrid are not selling Tchouaméni. Barella, Inter don't want to sell Barella. So, but
Terry,
again,
they just signed Jude Tchouaméni.
I'm sorry. But what you've done there, you've just named, in my opinion, 2 unattainable players. So who is an attainable?
Tchouaméni ain't unattainable at all.
How much is Tchouaméni going to cost you?
100 million.
And you think he'd leave Real Madrid to join Arsenal?
And I'll tell you why. It's not because he would want to play for Arsenal ahead of Real Madrid. Real Madrid is the biggest club on earth. I have no problem saying that. But currently, as things stand, with Real Madrid, they just signed Jude Bellingham. Ancelotti preferred to bring on Ferland Mendy, move Camavinga from left back to midfield over playing Tchouaméni. Ancelotti he doesn't rate Tchouaméni like that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Real Madrid are not selling Tchouaméni or Camavinga right now. They're the future of that midfield. And look, he didn't have the greatest first season, but there's no way they're letting him go year one.
Jude, Camavinga, Valverde.
They've already
Kroos, Modric.
Okay, but Kroos and Modric are going to be gone in the year or so. It's already been confirmed by a number of reputable journalists and people connected to Real Madrid that they are not going to let him go this summer. So unless Arsenal offer obscene amounts of money, it's a completely unattainable and unrealistic offer. Barella, maybe they can get that done, but that is again colossal amounts of money.
Getting him out of Italy, I understand.
But the question is, if Caicedo doesn't want to join Arsenal,
yes,
it's conceivable that Barella and Tchouaméni don't either. So say those 2 players don't want to go. Like you can only sign who wants to join you. And I think sometimes that's what I'm saying about Arsenal.
You should try to go for the class players, though, not a 19-year-old.
But there's no point wasting time on players that don't want to play for you.
No, but they're trying to beat City to a Premier League. I know what that's like.
I understand your point, right? But if the best 3 strikers in the world are Liverpool need a new striker, and the best 3 in the world are at City, at Man United, and at Real Madrid, you're not going to bid for them because you know you're not getting them for one reason or another. So if these players don't want to join, Arsenal would go and sign the best midfielder in the world if that player wanted to join them and if it was attainable to get him away from a club at a price they could afford. You would. It's like all of us. We'd all go and sign Mbappe today. If Mbappe wanted to join Arsenal and Arsenal had the money to sign him, they'd go and buy him. They wouldn't say no to it. You don't turn it down. I think what people forget is maybe some of these players you're saying Arsenal should sign don't want to join Arsenal.
I think Mbappe would say no to Arsenal.
I think.
And here's the thing, here's the thing. Look, I'm just saying they need ceiling raisers. And I don't think Havertz is, and I don't think Lavia is a ceiling raiser. I think Rice is. I've already said, I think Rice is a ceiling raiser. But they need better players, man. They're trying to beat City to a Premier League title. They're trying to compete in the Champions League. They want to prove that this season is not a fluke and they want to take it to the next level. They can't be signing these players. I want to be honest with you. Havertz ain't going to take them to the next level. Neither is Lavia. Rice will. So they need someone alongside him who's going to do that. Or at least, by the way, someone in a different position. You just mentioned Osimhen, for example. Make Harry Kane do the Sol Campbell. Someone like that. Fair enough. Okay.
No, I understand that. By the way, O'Malley's right. I never said that Caicedo didn't want to join. I'm making an example. Please, people, let's not be like other communities on social media. Listen to what's being said. Stop reacting with emotion and listen, because I didn't say that. But there we go. Before we move on fully to Arsenal, Chelsea also linked with a move today for a player that I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. I know he's at Villarreal. Is it Nicholas Jackson, the striker? Are you familiar with him at all?
Nope. I'm not familiar with him at all. I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll see what Chelsea are interested. But can I just say one thing about Arsenal? Sorry, I can't let this go. I have to say something about Arsenal. Comment section, that are telling me, oh my God, why don't you pay attention to your own club, blah, blah, blah. First of all, the topic's Arsenal. Second of all, Arsenal fans, I wanted you to win the league this season. So don't come at me like I'm attacking Arsenal. I'm trying to help you guys, but you guys don't want to listen. There's an Arabic saying that says "Is'al mujarrib wa la tas'al khabir," which means ask someone who tried something instead of asking the expert. We have tried competing against Man City for the title. I understand what it's like. I promise you, if Liverpool never signed Alisson and Van Dijk, we don't win those prems, bro. We don't win the champs. We don't win any of this stuff. So when it comes to Arsenal Football Club, the point I'm making is crystal clear. You need players that are going to elevate you, ceiling raisers, that are going to take you to the next level. That is what you need. All this Lavia, 19-year-old, Havertz. And by the way, I see people making the whole Havertz, to the Salah and KDB thing. Salah played 11 games for Chelsea. KDB played 5 games for Chelsea. And then they went to Wolfsburg, and then they went to Roma and Fiorentina to try and prove themselves and get to that level, to that stage. With Havertz, he has the most minutes for Chelsea this season. It's not like he's not had chances. He's had unbelievable amounts of chances, and he's still not done good enough. So he's not good enough to play on your wing. He's not better than Jesus. He's not better than Odegaard. But if you guys are accepting paying 50 million for a bench option that isn't going to improve you at all, then okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm the guy that's expecting too much of Arsenal. Maybe you are a top 4 club after all, Arsenal fans. I apologize. I'm just looking at Arsenal like the big club they are. My bad.